Video on the channel. I know it's been a while. Apologies, exam season is over. Now, what I thought about doing today was actually showing you how to solve a pretty hard integral. One of the original types of integrals that I was posting on this channel when it first started 2 years ago. And that's pretty much solving hard integrals using contour or complex analysis, if you will. So the one we're going to have a go at solving today is this guy here. The integral between negative infinity and infinity of x times by sine x divided by 1 plus x squared with respect to x. Okay? Now, what I want you guys to do is I want you to pause the video and I want you to have a go at this one yourself if you're feeling brave. Now, I'm going to complete nearly all of this here. The parts that I eventually will set equal to 0 require a lot more working, which I will do probably in a follow-up video, okay? So today we're just going to be solving the main part of this problem, okay? So, how do we establish this? Well, first of all, we take a look at what this guy is on the inside, okay? And we ask ourselves, okay, alright, what techniques could we use on this? Well, we can clearly see because we have a function over a function, that integration by parts is probably not the best idea, neither is a substitution or partial fractions, whatever, okay? So what we might do is we might represent this function in another world, pretty much, okay? So we want to work out what its complex function would kind of look like. Now, all you need to do to work that out is you just need to replace the x's with z's, and any trigonometric term, so like sine or cos, we are going to replace with e to the I z, okay? Now the reason why we do that is because we can take advantage of this identity a lot later on. So we are incorporating an aspect of sine, but we're writing it like this instead because we can use this later on, okay? So all we do is rewrite that function in terms of z. So we go, alright, let f of z equal z times by e to the I z divided by 1 plus z squared. Okay, now the next thing we want to do, which is a bit more advanced, is we want to work out where these poles are, okay? So the poles are basically, if we were to think of this on a Argand diagram, where this function has basically singularities, aka it doesn't exist. So when does this guy get set equal to 0, okay? So we kind of want to factorize it. So z squared plus 1, we want to rewrite that as z squared minus I squared, okay? This, as we can see, is clearly a difference of squares. So we can rewrite it like so here. So we can rewrite the z squared minus I squared as z minus I times by z plus I. Now, what this shows me is if this was set equal to 0, I would have z equals I or z equals negative I as solutions to that. So there are singularities, or two singularities here and a singularity here. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to establish a thing called a contour integral, okay? We are going to integrate around a contour. Now usually that is a semicircle above the real axis. So how we draw it is we choose two distinct points. So let's say this is R, and because it's a semicircle this has to be negative R, and we are going to integrate along a semicircle like so. Now we can see there is only one pole inside our semicircle, okay? Now the direction of this is actually really important. It has to be counterclockwise. So we have to be going in this direction here, okay? And we also have to give a name for this here because it is not on the real axis, okay? So we have to give it a name which we call gamma, okay? You can use any other symbol if you want, but gamma is usually the most common term you guys use, okay? Right, now, what does this mean, okay? Well, if you're integrating along a contour, so this is called our contour C, okay? The contour referring to this orientation around one of the poles, okay? So the integral of our contour is we write an integral symbol, we write a circle in the middle to demonstrate it's a contour, and we put the value C here to tell you, okay, I'm integrating along my contour, okay? In the complex plane of my function in terms of Z, this is equal, and we break it up into its parts. So the contour is the integral from negative r to r, which is there. So we can write like that. So negative r to r. And then we have the back bit here. The integral along the path gamma. So we just write it as the integral on the path gamma. Okay? Now this, if we have a, what's it called? A pole inside our contour. This is equal to 2 pi times the sum of the residues. Now, a residue is basically a certain value when you have a certain pole. So we're going to count this one as one of our residues here. Okay. So this is equal to 2 pi I times by the sum of the residues of f of z. Okay. That being our function here. So we have a residue at z equals I. Great. How do we find that? It's actually pretty easy, honestly. If you've been following so far, then none of this probably feels easy unless you've seen it before. But in the grand scheme of things, in this context here, it is easy compared to the other stuff. So how do we find a residue? Okay. Well, what we do is we have to work out where we're finding our residue at. So we're finding it at z equals I. Perfect. So to find a residue at z equals I, we basically set a limit approaching the value where the residue is. So the limit as z is approaching I. And what we do is the actual thing we're having is basically this thing written as a factor. So z minus I times by your f of z, which in this case here is this guy here, which we can move just there. And all we have to do is work out what this guy is going to be. Now, I will admit, this bit here is already simplified. I've kind of overcomplicated it a little bit. So let's get rid of this guy here. So let's cut that. And let's replace it with this here. Because we just factorized that, which is good. Alright, let's chuck that there. Chuck that there. Okay. So, let's go there. Now, hopefully you can see, and you're not blind like me. This one and this one clearly cancel out. So before you have to worry about any of this limit stuff here, just cancel those guys out. It gets rid of your divide by 0 quite easily. Okay. So, now we have something like this here. And you might be wondering, what do we do next? Well, there's nothing stopping you from just chucking in z equals I now, because you're not going to get a divide by 0. So if we want to work out the residue at z equals I, just replace the z with I. So we have I times by e to the I squared divided by I plus I. So you have I times by e to the negative 1 divided by 2i. The i's cancel out, and you can move the e to the negative 1 below the fraction, so you have 1 over 2e. Perfect. Now that guy can go up here. We can replace it right there in the orange. So our contour integral, which is these two buggers, the integral from negative r to r plus the integral of gamma, is equivalent to 2 pi I times by, what do we have down here? 1 over 2e. Okay. Now for the next bit. So we've got this thing here. Great, what does it mean? Now I have been a bit lazy and I have shorthanded it. So let's move this stuff. Actually, let's just move all this down here. Okay. So when I write those integrals there, I'm actually meaning the integral of the thing in the yellow there. Okay. Now we want to start to make it look like this integral here. Okay. We want to have some sort of direction with our mathematics. Okay. So what we're going to do is we need to get some infinities in there. Now, the first thing I want to draw your attention to is the things that we need to have in common. This needs to be negative infinity, it's negative r at the moment. This needs to be positive infinity. So what we should do to make it look like our integral, or start to look like our integral, is take the limit as r goes to infinity, and just take it on everything. So, this is what it would look like. Let's make this a little bit smaller and chuck it over there. So if we take this limit and we apply to everything, first of all, actually before we do that, cancel, cancel. So we have pi I over e. Okay, so let's establish. So the limit as r goes to infinity, and we have the integral from negative r to r of z times e to the I z over z squared plus 1 dz plus the gamma integral. Oh, we forgot the limit. Should probably make that a little bit further spread. The limit as r goes to infinity of gamma is equivalent to pi I over e. Now, as r goes to infinity, this guy actually turns to 0. So as r goes to infinity, this integral of the gamma path goes to 0. If you want to see the full proof for that, drop something in the comments and I'll do it. It's just very long. It'll take another couple minutes or so. Great. So what this means is we can change our thing to look like this. So once we've established that limit, we can literally just replace, also, because we're applying a limit, and there's nothing over here that has r, this is technically independent of the limit. So I have written limit as r goes to infinity, but because there's no r here, then it doesn't affect it, so it's independent. Okay? Right. So here we can just change these to infinities. So we have negative infinity, infinity, z dot eiz over z squared plus 1 dz equals pi I over e. You might be wondering, this still looks nothing like our integral. And first of all, I'd say hold your horses. And second of all, I'd tell you, what did we say at the start? We had a particular thing we could use later on. Okay? So we're trying to work out what this guy is. Agreed? Now, hopefully you remember that we have this as well. So why don't we just use that now? Okay? Because that's the only thing we're missing. Replace this into there. And believe it or not, we are going to get our integral appearing. We're actually going to get two, honestly. So we'll have this, negative infinity, infinity, z times by cos z plus I sine z over z squared plus 1 dz equals pi I over e. So hopefully you can see what I've just done now. I've just replaced that guy for that. Expand this guy here. So we have negative infinity, infinity, z cos z plus z sine z I divided by z squared plus 1 dz equals pi I over e. We are going to split this guy into two separate integrals because there's an addition there. So we have the integral between negative infinity and infinity of z cos z over z squared plus 1 dz plus the integral negative infinity to infinity z times sine z times I over z squared plus 1 dz equals pi I over e. Now, what you want to do here is you want to equate the real and imaginary terms. This is the real term because there are no values of I. There are no imaginary units. And over here, this is the only real term, 0. So, technically, this integral here is equal to 0. So what we're left with is the integral negative infinity, infinity, z sine z I over I squared plus 1 dz equals pi I over e. Now you might be wondering, that isn't it. Well, it is, because you can actually divide both sides by I, and you can cancel that out. And would you look at that, we have actually just worked out our integral. The only thing is I didn't put an x. But this is a dummy variable, you can swap this out for anything, honestly. Okay? Anyway, that's how you do that integral. It has been too long since I've done one like that. Okay? Now, if you guys want a follow-up video, me showing why this thing is equal to 0, leave something in the comments. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video.